Hello, welcome back. Now, I've been working quite a lot on aircraft recently, aircraft and ground vehicles, because we cannot defend ourselves. It is just out of control right now. So, this is the new version of the AJ military, basically equipped with a ladder, more missiles, new balancing system, and yeah, just general tweaking to the wings. And this has made it much better to fly. It's more effective, I must say. This is the liftoff. This thing will take off at 35 meters per second, which is pretty good, I must say. There it is, just lifting off. And the missiles are very accurate as well because they have curvature, unlike the last ones, which were a bit dodgy. These ones also have little nose cones up front, so they take a little bit of the extra damage on impact, so greater penetrating power. As you can see, we're able to flip properly without going out of control like we were before. And the joystick is very good to fly this plane with, now that it's been more stable. There's some nice little explosions there. I also made a VTOL version of this, basically by mounting a VTOL engine in the middle, adding advanced SAS, a regular reaction wheel in the middle, and replacing the tail fin with a proper rudder, just a winglet. And so now it's a bit of a different creature to fly, but it works, and it's really good for strafing attacks, I found. Maybe if we're facing ground vehicles, then we'll use this instead, as it's much slower and much more stable than a fast-flying jet. It can also fly in regular mode, because it's got a jet engine in the back, but it's mainly meant for VTOL use around the KSP. I can't really think of any other use for it. This is also armed with the same missiles as the AJ-1. This is the AJ-3. And lastly, I made this formidable tank. The last ground attack vehicles we had were pretty shoddy, to be honest. And I've been testing the weapons on these. These have much more torpedoes there. Just a little explosion, but that didn't do any damage. Anyway, so I've got them lined up. This is going to cause a bit of lag, but yeah, I've got 3 available here in case we're attacked. These are armed with, I believe, it's about 8 or 10 missiles, so they'll be able to deal with any opponents, and they've got heavy armor as well as access for 1 crew member, also with an aiming system using aircraft landing gear, and lights. So, hopefully we won't be under threat anymore, we'll be able to defend ourselves. So, after getting defenses prepped up, we're back to the mission at hand, resupplying the space station. I've also made changes to the spacecraft, are now armed, so in case of attack, they can defend themselves. I've just plonked this basic rocket on the launch pad. It still needs to be refueled and crewed, but in a few hours, it'll be ready for liftoff, and we can resupply that refuel station that we have in orbit. Right, that was some one dangerous battle. We even had hand-to-hand combat at the end, which we weren't really expecting. Luckily, the Kerbal piloting that tank was fully aware of a possible hand-to-hand combat attack and was prepared, able to subdue him. And the rocket endures. We're able to launch it into orbit. We are finally able to defend ourselves. That was a fantastic practical first usage of the tank system. Now I'm just got to get this into orbit. So I've just skipped ahead to the docking. This is armed with several missiles, or torpedoes I guess, if they're in space. And I've put this open shielded docking port on. So now we can transfer Jebediah Kerman and his fellows on the space station back to the carrier. This carrier is not going to return from orbit. I'm going to send up a separate ship to deliver these guys back. This is going to be simply a crew movement vessel. Basically so we can move crew from the space station to the GSS Titan that's in orbit, and around many other ships in Kerbal orbit. So it's looking better. It's looking much better. We're still going to have to combat the Shadow Corp. I believe they're not going to give up so easily, though we have held them off. So, in the next episode, we will hopefully get our interplanetary operations underway.